Okay. Yo, what's up? So I'm gonna give your VOD a watch, and we'll see what, if anything, we can input. You said you're about silver, like the skin. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Alright, so let's talk about that first series of interactions. Now, as you know, Reinhardt is very good at melee. Like, because other than Fire Strike and Charge, you really can't go a distance, so to speak. So, I think this is just a perspective issue so far. So let's go. I forget how you get the free cam nowadays. There it is. Yeah. I don't use the recorder enough. Let's bring this up for a moment here and really kind of set up so maybe you can see it a little bit more from the opponent's perspective, or I haven't decided yet. Sorry, I don't review as much. I'm trying to do more. So let's see. So this fight starts, and their monkey is literally down in the pit. That's so bizarre to me. But you got there fast. So you recognize you can hit monkey, so you do. But you don't really commit, but that's okay because you took some damage and you were in the shield. Right? But right now, you're not really doing much of anything, right? So this isn't really good space for you to hold if like you don't push forward. What you really want to be doing is you want to be holding kind of this area or like this area, depending. You want to close this gap so that your heroes like Symmetra, like Soldier, and then like your supports can move in and like be in okay. Like yeah, obviously if you move here, Anna will be a little bit more exposed, but that'll give her time to either like rotate or what have you. But by standing out here in the open, you're not only not doing anything, you're just kind of like tanking shields here, and you can't use any of that space, right? You're not so you're not a threat to them. They're like, I see the Reinhardt, and the Reinhardt is downrange, so I can just shoot at him and he can't do anything to me, kind of mentality. You could be over here backing up your Symmetra, who wants to like take this area, which is really good. I would actually honestly play in this kind of like this area here because it keeps your your enemies limited vision of you, and you know you can help like keep them out. So that means they're like their only flanks are these ones. Now McCree would definitely prefer this area up here, but that's what you have a diva for, you know, and like these and like Soldier's good at fighting out McCree from a distance. You don't need to necessarily like this isn't really holding point, especially since point's not even open yet. But it's just kind of like you're just existing right now. So far I would say the first thing I would definitely think of is like your objective on the map. Like what are you doing at any given moment? I'd say that you want a little more insight into these things. Like, yeah, sure, shielding for Soldier is a thing you can do, but he can also like he can use cover and stuff. He doesn't, and he can run. He doesn't really need you. Had you have been with your Symmetra, you could have been set up already to deal with this like Mercy res. And recognizing the things that you can and you should not engage into. Usually want to keep Anna in mind. Like, so this, like, this also is like a very short-sighted charge, I guess. So, like, you come in and you're looking, like, you saw the McCree and the Roadhog and the Anna. These three heroes And any sequence is instant death. Like, at any other higher rank, they can easily combo you. They can, I mean, you do die, but you have to be conscious of who you're trying to pin. Were you trying to pin the McCree? Because it looked like you were trying to pin the Winston, and that you won't kill that Winston regardless. And you are now pinning into a very dangerous area. It's easy to assume that anywhere that's not the control point, since you guys just captured that, is dangerous area, because you know their team is around that corner. So this is the equivalent of pinning into 6. You know, they're just missing one person. They're missing that Genji, but all of this is death. You should stay, like, your Symmetra wants to use the shield to, like, charge up her thing. Then it'd be okay if you wanted to, like, contest this area by using her. She's much good at pushing enemies out because they can't ignore her beam for very long, especially if it's fully charged. Whereas you're just exposed now and you die, obviously. But so yeah, you said that you were relatively good leveled on console. It's just one of those things where it's like it's just a mistake that I feel like a lot of people don't. It's just a big mistake. Yeah. See, like, what are you doing here? You're on the point. You're holding your shield, and you're like, oh, I'm blocking the Mercy. Well, the Mercy shouldn't be there in the first place, and you being there is not doing anything. You have to look at their comp and then make your decisions on how you should be playing. Like, you don't have to use your shield all of the time. Calling for heal, yeah, your Mercy is going to be healing you, but that's nothing. This fight's over. It's easier just to die at this point. Yeah. It's whatever. You guys had already lost that fight, so that's okay. But Mercy is not your healer. Like, she is a healer, but she's not the one you should be relying on. You want to rely on that Anna. And I know it's kind of scary, especially at lower ranks, but you have to essentially play, like, you have to appreciate that and work on that. This is nothing, yeah. So far what I've noticed is you don't really play around your teammates. You're just kind of doing your own mini objective. You guys did time this, but I don't think it really brought anything good to the table. So you mentioned you're aiming. It looks like you're trying a little too hard to keep enemies in your cursor. I'm going to sidetrack actually a little bit just to kind of show you. We'll come back to this spot. Let's hop into practice range real quick. I was screwing around a quick play. Yeah, you saw that. So, like, look. Before I kill myself. So, you don't have to, like, literally be aiming at them. You're thinking too much about keeping them in front of you. It doesn't, it doesn't have to be that way. Just come on over and you can just swing your heart's content out. Yeah. Like, it's okay to not be, like, perfectly accurate with your melee. That's even part, you were kind of trying to look like you to replicate it a little bit, but the like the extended range, that's something that you'll just pick up in time. But yeah, so that's what I'm trying to tell you is I think you're worried too much about aiming directly at your opponent. Like, think of it less as a hit scan weapon. It's not that. It is direct. It's a box that appears, like an invisible box that appears directly in front of you that you can manipulate by turning your body. That's how you should consider it. Less of a DPS type weapon. And then you can see, like, for example, there you can even turn into things. So, like, say you get the fatty shatter, right? But like they're positioned weird. You can always just keep turning to like make other like melees connect. Like if, especially if you like, say for example, you're like not approaching it directly from the front, but like maybe the side. You can always just, yeah, you can still hit them, even after your shatter. But I think, yeah, don't worry so much about aiming, because like you were saying, you're not a great aimer. That's okay. Your character's not about aiming, it's about positioning and like knowing when to melee. Let's see. Let's go back to your VOD. Sorry. Yeah, look, don't look. I was throwing in quick play last night. It's fine. Let's get back in it. So I think this was near. Yeah, this is after the bomb. Okay, so we're this. I just noticed because it's like you're like so dead focused on keeping it on him that I think it might be deterring you a little bit. Don't worry about it that much. Just walk. Just W. Aim mouse is the mouse and more with the keyboard. So like this, you know, like perceiving that these ults are coming in is one thing, but this is so risky, but it ended up paying off for you, I guess. And the voice line too, I like it. So risky. Like, it was amazing that your team survived the nano blade, but jumping out in front of that Deadeye was definitely, or shattering out in front of that Deadeye was definitely like risky. That was like a player with bad reaction. So like, yeah, it worked, but think of it this way: you're also in silver, and that player is like not as good at reacting. If it was any like if it was like a, even I would say like a plat or diamond player, they would just know instant, like they would just pull the trigger right then. So it was risky, but whatever. It kind of worked out in the end, so I'm not gonna hold it too hard against you. I'm just saying that like things that work at this rank might not necessarily work at other ranks. Weren't really with your team there. I think you don't appreciate the Anna enough. You need to appreciate her more because she is your healer, and especially at this rank where they're like more focused on healing than anything else. You're gonna find it a detriment to your gameplay if you're not playing in the area you're supposed to be playing in. So let's say you're over here, for example, right? There's your healer. Like, this is the healer you're supposed to be relying on. Like, she is currently not looking at you because she's like trying to deal with the issue that's going on over here, which is the rest of the team dying. And you are holding up, you're taking a 2v1, and like the only other person who cares is D.Va, and she's not even in range to help you, while the rest of your team is getting pummeled. This guy is getting pummeled. See how like they're doing 4v1 almost, and you're taking a 2v1, even though you guys have kind of like people elsewhere. Where is Mercy at? Oh, she's just up here. Yeah, so like you should be up, not maybe up here because obviously the primal monkey would be like a environmental lethal. You should still maybe be with the Anna and like the Symmetra and the D.Va. Like you could be taking advantage of this wall that's behind you, but you don't even know it's there. Like I didn't know it was there until you until I went to the third person. So like kind of like short-sightedness of like you're so focused on dealing with this one target that you don't realize that like the rest of the fight is going south behind you. But you're gonna die here anyway, so. And they nanoed it, so they were like just ahead in ults too. Just a whole lot of stuff going on, right? Is this a roll? Yeah, it looks like you guys get rolled here. Let's just zoom ahead. I don't I don't need to see all the theatrics. Okay. Ooh, Fair Mercy. Suddenly your hero is just not good against this comp, is it? Charging the Narnia. Mm-hmm. See? This is just another sign of... Let's go back just a little bit. Just like to the initial point. You gotta look at it this way, man. Like... Okay, so here's your team, right? So your team came through this middle choke here. So like they came in, you have a Moira, you have an Anna. They're positioned in a spot where they'll be safe because they're playing in the way they should. Where it's like, oh, I'm not exposing myself to all the tanks. I can heal my tanks, even though there's kind of a bubble, but you know, bubbles don't last forever. But the Pharah is going to have to pick either to be in this area or like this area, or like even up here. Ideally, your soldiers would want to go and take you guys. The moment you saw the Pharah, you want to like go take this to like help your soldier deal with the Pharah. Like, I know previously I was saying last round about the shield botting, but this is something a little different where it's like you need to work with your hit scan to help deal with the problem. And like by hit scan, it could mean your soldier, it could mean your diva, it could mean your Anna. You know, like those are people. Your team's not really built well to deal with a Pharah Mercy, and that's just going to be a problem. But that's not what I was trying to get at in this moment. This moment is this decision to charge the Narnia. It sounds like a good idea, but look what it does. So you're gone. Now your supports have no choice. If they want to try to save your life, they're going to jump out here. And look where that puts them in contrast to everyone else. Look at this. Now, they have 5 here, and sure, this Symmetra might bully them a little bit, but they're going to see him go off to Narnia, and any other decent team is like, okay, well, we just go kill everyone else while he's out playing with Roadhog. Roadhog, mind you, very good at surviving. So, like, Monkey's going to go help him, and then now you've brought your team into a pincer effect, and now they're surrounded. Like, I didn't play out that way, but this is because of a lower rank. This is silver gameplay. Right? At higher levels, that would be something that's easy to like take advantage of. Like the fact that they lost this fight after your charge in Narnia is actually kind of bizarre to me, but it's whatever. They had Fair Mercy. I don't know how they lost that. Oh, they already switched off. They're already off the Doomfist. Okay, so they're taking the high ground to use it against you, and you guys are taking the low ground, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I don't know how you picked that monkey up after you dropped him. Why are you shaking your mouse like a madman? What's going on here? This is your so like this whole sequence of events. No one's even shooting at you. Like look at your shield health. Yeah, look at your shield health and your normal health, and like look who's in front of you. You have your diva who's in deep water. And they have a monkey who can shoot through shields, and while you're contemplating what you're gonna do here, like the Roadhog's there, right? And your soldier's running for his life. Like those two guys are out here playing murder, ring around the murder, so they murder him. Now they go on that diva when you took too long to make the decision of whether or not you were going to go help your diva there. So you gave, the only option you gave her was to retreat back to you. But they had already cleaned up their fight and they were collapsing onto you guys. So now basically you were holding a space that wasn't very valuable, and they were eventually they collapsed onto you because you were the last one. You know, you didn't defend anybody, and then once everyone else was dead, they came for you, basically. You don't even need me to tell you that that was a bad shatter. So, I'm not even going to talk about it. That was just a bad shatter. There's nothing you can do about it. Your decision making is very, I hate to say it, but I think it certainly needs improvement. I think you're not very confident in what you should be doing at any given moment. Like, this. Like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You're like, you can't seem to decide on what you need to be doing until it's, like, too late. Like, yeah, right, you're blocking the Roadhog here. This is good. You know that they're pushing, you can hear it. Like, you can hear that your Reaper's being fought against. It's like your DPS has gone one way, and now you're blocking another, which is, like, kind of fine. But, I know it's like, oh, I'm blocking the Roadhog, but it's like you're not actually doing anything. Like, yeah, you're keeping him out, but at the same time, you need to be kind of the ones going in. And your Reaper is challenging them, and you guys aren't with him. Like, so it's like, yeah, ooh, you pushed them out, but that Roadhog realized that it was probably too risky to, like, stay here, but he knows that no one's going to catch him out. Like, yeah, sure, Diva's going to be here, and, like, Symmetra's setting her turrets up for some reason, but, you need to just stick to a plan a little bit more, I think. So here comes the Nano Blade. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, like, as to what I'm saying earlier, those little mouse wiggles are doing you nothing. They're not improving your aim or your damage. They're just you're just shaking your screen to a point where it's almost, like, impossible to tell what's going on. Don't do that. You don't need to do that. The only thing that shaking does is it increases your horizontal range, which is, like, the things from your left and your right, not what's in front of you. Because you're not turning it enough to get, like, a significant advantage on those. So don't do that. Because I think, honestly, you're only confusing yourself when it's in that situation. You're lucky they stunned that Roadhog out of his ult, because if he had still had it and he was still aiming at you, he would have pushed you off the map. Again, in terms, I've noticed that the bubble has been catching you off. You cannot stand in Winston bubble and be healed by your heroes, other than Mercy. So you need to respect the bubble a little bit more. I don't think you anticipate, like, the enemies doing other things to you. I think it's really just kind of like a game sense, sort of, a little bit of mechanics and a little bit of game sense. That's just a mistimed shatter. I don't know if you're aware of the interaction between Doomfist and Reinhardt, but if he's going to punch you, like, if you're really sure he's going to go for that punch, you can countercharge him, and, like, you guys can stun each other. Usually not always the best thing to do, but it's something you can use to, like, help immobilize the Doom so your team can handle him. Maybe not in that exact situation, but in, like, any situation where it's like, oh, the Doomfist is, like, you have an opportunity to, like, stun him and, like, kind of get a control of it. But you got to be careful with that, because obviously you'll be on the ground too. So then, like if there's an Ana nearby, she nades you, and now you're in, like, an even deeper, or, like, they have stuns, etc. So I don't think, from what it looks like, from most of what I perceived in the round, I don't think you're anticipating much of, like, what's going on with your team, and not really being very effective. Like, holding the shield at 400 health, it's like, yeah, it's not bad, but it's, like, not good either. You should be, like, recharging it. I think you hold a lot of useless space, like, areas that you think are useful. Reinhardt wants to play mainly around these corners, so that, like, you can engage and disengage by using physical cover. Standing out in the open with your shield like this is, like, that, you're not doing anything. Your charges are very inefficient. I would recommend, honestly, considering only short range charges, things that are only going to go a short distance. And before you charge, you need to decide in your head, it's like, okay, how far is too far? Like, usually what I mean by is, like, a short charge is, like, if you're, like, say this is, like, the area, right, you're in, and you're like, I need to charge an enemy or do something, like, this whole, like, point. It really should be about this distance. You really don't want to go too much farther than that until you become more comfortable with, like, like the game essentially, because honestly there's a lot of things I feel like you're not considering. So it's like you can hit tab and you could look and you could be like, okay, if I charge, what's going to kill me? And you could look and you could say, oh, Roadhog could hook me, Anna could sleep or nade me, and McCree could flashbang fan the hammer me. Very lethal combo. Like he is a Rhine melter. Back in old Overwatch, even before all the like changes in like the current state, he was death. Like he would just he could used to just be able to right one fan the hammer could kill a tank. Like uh and but he can still do that. He can fan. He's like flashbang, fan, roll, fan, and you could be dead before you even uh have a chance to respawn. Not to mention, any other so like you want to look at heroes that can like CC you. So say if it was like, oh, they have a Brig, oh they have a Doomfist, oh they have like their own Reinhardt, or they have like these heroes that like you got to consider like what could go wrong with the pin more before you do pin, and like wait for those abilities to go out. So like it'd be different if it was like, oh, we weren't just engaging into this fight. You usually don't want to use pin as an engagement because it's almost always going to be countered, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm dropping a lot of frames, but oh, I am dropping a ton of frames. I'm not even recording. I see. Let's go take a look at what happened. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have anything else to add. I think you're just you're worried too much about aiming with your mouse, and um, I think you could do a better job of recognizing what value you bring to the team and like how to do better as Reinhardt. Like, I think you should really watch some more like Reinhardt videos about and like kind of just take notes, even if it's like a diamond player or whatever. Just kind of like see where they go, like, and try to follow those positionings on certain maps, um, and try to see where is okay to you. Pretty much ideal places to stand are places the enemy cannot see you as much, but don't stand on the open. Yeah.